hosted one by myself. I always have Ralph.
Oh, yeah.
He does it a lot better.
Get rid of the dead wood.
Hey? Yeah, I got rid of the dead wood. And I'm not going to edit that.
He's too busy. He's got 19 jobs. Fucking rough. You're a little prick.
He's got heaps. I don't even know what he does.
So he wasn't available?
No, he wasn't available.
He's a gambling ambassador.
He's
always got something going on, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Always.
And I don't know what they are.
No, but there's some good titles.
I know.
Some of the
He's
titles
doing something with esports or something now, which that's...
Oh.
Some of the titles
he's had. Coffee at Banksy's, like...
Is he?
Well, like I often see him there if I waddle over at 10 o'clock on a Monday or something, and
yeah, right.
It's pretty regular, I think.
Okay. All right. So this is a special episode of In the Green Room. We haven't done it for a while. But Frosty made me do it. Made me come back out of retirement. She got me out of retirement. It's like when Wayne Bennett got Alfie Langer out of retirement for that one game. He scored the winning try.
Oh,
he scored a great try. So this is it. Yeah. Except that not Queensland. All right, I'm going to ask her firstly. So we started off every episode. We start off. How did you all become involved in the Greens? You've probably been the longest, would you?
Yeah, look, I go past 25 years.
Yeah.
God, in those days, we didn't have a lot of junior sides when I was playing. So it'd be like you'd play 16s at the Greens and you'd play 17s for South. And then in the end, when we came through to grade, it ended up being Carlton. So it was about 1988. I think there was a first grade premiership. A few of the boys who came through with me, like Simon Charters and Dennis Shaw. So year one, we got on first grade premiership.
Was that 88?
That was 89.
89.
It was a grand final 88. We came through to grade 1989. In 1990, won a second grade premiership when I was in second grade against Singo when they first came in.
Mm-hmm.
And then just continued on from there. Like I had probably 10, 15 years as a coach. Actually, I was still playing a little bit when we started with the girls.
Yeah.
I used to remember that. And that was the start of my coaching as well. So I was a bit sort of back to front. I got Munzer coaching first grade now. I was his assistant in the rep side, and at the same time I had a Carlton under 15 side. That was the year before the girls started.
Right.
He's with the beautiful Jughead Jones doing the rep stuff. So he had kids like Josh Munro, Ben Dubik, Lloyd Valentine, Luke Tressida, guys have been around forever, and even Sam Berry and Paul Dan from other clubs around the place. So it's been interesting watching you look back and go, look at all the different people you've been hanging out with. It was quite strong. But then I was just with the club forever since then. But started coaching with the juniors, then with the girls, did about 10 years of coaching, finished with a 2007 first grade premiership.
Yeah, right.
And then a guest appearance in 2011, didn't do much, but they were undefeated, they were too good.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And then was the women's team the first time for both of you? Or were you...
It involved me in
that?
Yeah. Oh, like officially, yeah. But I feel like, I don't know, we were around it a little bit as younger people. I was thinking about it earlier, and I remember coming after like playing for South Nettie and coming with like Uncle Greg Gilmore and driving in and watching from the car and stuff like that.
Yep.
But yeah, watching cousins and stuff like Mitch and Sean Rich and that. But yeah, like officially the girls.
Yeah, the Merewether Mafia, Gilmore's, Morgan's.
Yeah, but we were
thousands of them. They're everywhere.
A few of them were playing rugby.
Yeah.
Dad was a South bloke, so he grew up actually in that house that you've spoken about before, the old dilapidated one on Hall Street, where some of the blokes ended up living in.
Oh, just down here, still there?
Yeah, it's still there, but so he grew up there, so it's a very well trodden path from that house to Townsend Oval.
Yes.
But he played South.
I think that's the famous house that Monkey and that would run off. And
extracurricular activity.
Prep themselves for the game. Get the lungs working. And what about you? When was was the team the first?
Yeah. I'd grown up playing like netball and basketball and got into rugby at Merewether High School through Bob Dan, and my sister hassled him to get a women's team at the school, and so she was 3 years older than me. So when I was in like year 8, so about 95, schoolgirls rugby started up, and I played it and just loved it instantly.
Yep.
And our dad was an old uni boy, so he was, and with 2 daughters, he was very pleased that we were playing rugby at school. And then it was in 1999 when I was in year 12, and Mum got a phone call from this bloke Jimmy Thiveos asking if I'd go and play rugby for the Greens. And I remember Mum pretty well said, well, she's in year 12 at Merewether, she's got to focus on her studies. And,
Yep.
I honestly, it did not occur to me till probably now that you were still at school when we started.
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
oh, doing the HSC.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And Merewether High too. That's
yeah,
because that
She
was
was the captain,
selective.
yeah.
I thought I was getting a
Were you
bunch of...
captain as well?
I was.
Wow.
And it was selective then, believe it or not.
Wow.
We
But,
played for Newcastle High, so her and Frost and Gabby,
Yeah,
Alvin,
yeah,
Lauren Edwards played for Merewether, and then we were playing for Newcastle High, like Beck Anderson, me,
Yep.
Meg Roach, Alex McGarvey,
Yep.
Ange
the
Mackay.
2 Brooks, yeah,
Yeah.
lots of people that ended up playing for Carlton, not necessarily in the first team, but in future teams. Lots of them came from Merewether and Newcastle
Yeah.
High, probably. 'Cause,
Yeah.
There was
they
a
were
lot of
always
noise
pretty,
about girls rugby at the time, It was starting to
Yeah.
get fairly prominent.
Yeah.
Those gala days were busy.
Yeah, that was a big thing.
Mm.
Merewether
Yeah.
High always put on a tens
Mm.
tournament.
yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, I remember playing in one when I was
Yeah.
at school.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
we'd always run up for that and then knock out and whatever. But
Yeah.
And it was a strong rivalry between Merewether and
And
Newcastle High, and we got a few wins, and then they got a few wins, and
Yep.
and I remember we kind of had them one year, and then we heard that they got this new recruit, this Indigenous player, and I remember going and watching, and then seeing this blonde girl just score try after try, and it was Beck Anderson.
Yeah, right.
Blonde as, and and so then they started to beat us, and they probably got the better of us when I was in year 12, and
I'd left by then.
yeah,
So we won the knockout comp the year we left school. So we left school in 98, Kate was 99, so
Yes.
we ended
Yeah.
in 98. And then I just remember Meg saying that Jimmy had rung Joe's, Joe's sister, saying that Carlton are getting a team together, and Meg just basically said to me, Carlton are getting a team together and we're playing. I'm like, okay. And that was it. But Scotchy actually was our first Newcastle High coach.
That's right, it was too.
God, I know all their nicknames. Gordon Bender.
Yeah.
Gordon Bender, yeah.
Yeah. And then David Lubens was a PE teacher, so he took over from Scotchy.
Oh, Mr. Luton.
I
He has a
still
good sword.
call
He's a
Oh,
good
is
rugby
he?
player, yeah.
Yeah.
Guy's a good fella.
Well, I went to Newey High for a little bit.
Yeah, right.
For maybe 3 terms.
You didn't say Mr.
Yeah.
Lewis?
No, well, I didn't really pay attention to the male teachers.
See, the
Didn't pay attention to
the
any of them.
Newcastle program was prominent because Gordon Bray did an interview with Meg Roach and Alex McGarvey because they were ballerinas
Oh, really?
after school and rugby players.
Where's this footage?
There'd be footage somewhere. There'd be
There's
footage of it.
Really?
And
Yeah.
so they got famous for being ballerinas and rugby players. And then there was a story about they played one day and they clashed heads and
Yeah.
Alex left her tooth in Meg's head, I think. Was
Yeah,
it that way?
yeah. So we had to play. It was early in the knockout comp. We had to
Mm.
play Morisset High at Morisset High, and she forgot her mouthguard, Alex. And I don't know why it didn't occur to us that Morisset would have a chemist. We just we were literally at their school. There were sheep in the next paddock, and she just made the decision to play without a mouthguard because we literally had to get on the freeway to get there.
Yeah.
It felt like a long way. And it was pissing down with rain. It was the worst conditions I've probably ever played in. And they just both went to tackle someone. Her teeth ended up in Meg's forehead. And it was horrendous. Someone ran to the canteen to get milk. There was blood everywhere.
Wow.
Meg's walking around even more confused than normal. Just yeah. It was horrific, and then Meg thought Joe was there going, oh, you'll be right, you can go for the car, and it was not going to happen. But it was she 2 years ago, she's still getting dental work for that.
Really?
It was really bad.
Wow.
Yeah, she had the wire from her braces holding.
Yep.
she didn't have braces, the wire behind, like basically holding her teeth there, but they came out. It was awful.
Wow.
Awful.
And so your dad was uni.
Yes.
What did he think?
Well,
What was,
he said
Really?
yes.
There was
Like,
hate.
he said that I could. He wasn't happy about it.
Did uni and Greens have a big rivalry?
I think he hated Steve Frost.
He did.
Yeah,
He wasn't
It
a
was the
fan.
perfect storm.
Oh, right.
He wasn't a fan of Slicer just from having played against
That's
him.
what
And
Yeah.
yeah, and hated the slime. Just
Yeah.
like,
Mm.
and he said, but you know, if you want to play, you can play, but I'm not going to cheer for the Greens. I'll come and I'll cheer for you and I'll cheer for Ange, and I'm not going to stand near the green room.
Never
So
again.
he stood on this side.
Yeah.
He'd stand down here, and I could, and he would, So he was like really supportive of me playing footy. Didn't ever say like, why don't you go and play for uni? Just
Did uni have a team?
Yeah.
they
Mm.
did. They did. That was like Stacey Cosgrove.
Yeah, I
and-
remember them trying to
Yeah.
recruit, and we were like, oh no, by then, like,
Yeah.
word was already that
Yeah.
Carlton were getting a team, but thanks for that.
Yeah.
So we just had to work the phones with them. So you had rugby families. You had Goldman, even though there was an alliance with uni. She was at Merewether High with Frost.
Yep.
So you got the Froster in there. You got the Maguires with Jazz. You got the Roaches. So you had a bit of a connection there already. Nick Joannou, who was at uni, came across because they were just kids. Like, they were just young kids. You know, it was funny talking to mothers about HSC. I thought, I'm going to get a bunch of nerds.
Yeah.
It's going to be the worst team ever. Like,
There
Well,
were-
no one else, but no one else did
turn up
HSC, the
classes.
club.
Well, just Merewether High selective. I thought, what am I getting? You know, how wrong was I? Like, I was wrong with a lot of stuff, but
Yeah,
geez, I tell you, they could have a good time.
yeah. So what was the atmosphere like when you said we're getting the girls' side together? What was the atmosphere? What was the
Response.
response by the club?
I reckon it was a bit mixed.
Yeah,
No, a lot of old blokes didn't think it was right. And
yeah,
didn't think it's the way to go. They'd earn their keep. They'd earn their respect at the club, and that's what I'd probably give them a lot of, a lot of kudos for. Like, they had to earn their respect in the game. Once they got out there and started smashing people like everybody else, and see, girls are different too. You had to teach them from scratch. So they were all very
We had
attentive,
some-
and they knew nothing. They knew very little about the game. They're not used to
We had no
tackling
idea
people.
about rugby.
They'd run this high, so they'd
Yeah.
be all banging into each other like that. Like,
The
I still
only
don't
rule
know
we knew
both.
was the house was a scrum.
yeah,
yeah.
And I still don't
a
know.
little house.
I still don't know when you get a short arm penalty versus a normal one. It's like, does anyone know?
Ange never paid attention anyway. But no one knew any laws. And it didn't help because we'd also get the worst referees, you'd get the lowest ranked. And I
Yeah.
remember Dennis Goodwin, one of our first games, he had them feeding the scrum
Is
on
there
the
a
wrong
good
side.
referee though?
Well, but they knew what side to feed the scrum from, right?
Yeah.
We're yelling out going, you're on the wrong side. And our players are going, they didn't even know. Like, it didn't make any difference. So they had to earn their respect. But
The first
But I
drop
think-
kick, it was like literally.
no idea.
Someone
Instead of this side, they ran on the other side.
side.
And you're yelling at the ref going, what are you doing? You know, like, where you at? But they got stuck into the club and they won respect. Like, they were the Merewether models back then, right?
Yeah.
They didn't quite fit the mould of
That
all the
wasn't
rugby
a
players. There was two,
self-imposed name.
Wanderers and Hamilton they led the way. They had some good, hard rugby players, like, and great athletes, you know, and they were tough. These girls were shit scared of them for the first 12 months. It
You're
was.
making that up, but
And then it's sort of what they earned the respect of the players, and they got stuck into everything. They just became rugby players after a short time. But how did you feel when you first came?
Because I'd come from basketball and not being around rugby at all, really. I just remember thinking it was the best thing ever, like being part of the club and the community. And then in the July I turned 18, so then I pretty well learnt to drink at the Mary Ellen and the Burwood, and had the time of my life and just loved it instantly.
How'd you end up doing on the HSC?
Yeah, I wanted to be a school teacher, and I knew that to get a teacher, I had to get around 80, and I got like high 80s.
Oh,
I was probably the most underachieving Merewether High School captain in history, but I had fun.
But the club didn't derail you.
No,
not completely.
At the time, Jade Roach was the captain after that. I don't know what his result was.
Yeah.
no, he was
early.
he's older
He's
than
older.
me.
Oh, sorry,
So-
before you.
I don't know if
his
it was.
results
I don't
were.
know if it was selective when he
No,
got
I
in
don't
there.
think it was.
No, I think it,
Sorry, Jade.
I don't know.
I felt that we were pretty well coached, but possibly because there were those like connections anyway.
Yep.
And we were thrown into it. Like Jimmy was like, you have to do all these things. Like we trained with the men, we did all our pre-season training with them. And I don't know if that's because he didn't know what to do with us, so we were kind of just embedded within it. Like we were just an extension of the club overall. But Jimmy very much encouraged us to get involved.
Yep.
Other than, the training and the playing, we went to committee meetings and did the barbecue while we waited to play, and every social thing we went to, and not that we were not going to go, but we were expected to turn up. And I feel like there were loads of those sorts of things back in those days. I'm sure it's the same now, but.
was it more the players? Were the players more receptive than, say, the older guys?
Yeah, I think it was just that thing about should girls play rugby? And guys go, I don't think they should play. You'd hear that with some of the old fellas. But yeah, the club itself, well, that's classic rugby, Whether you're a first grader, fourth grader, one of the women, everyone gets in together and just gets into it,
Yeah.
and they probably turn the social stuff on its head. Because even just before that, there'd been stuff where you didn't have women at prezos,
Yeah, players.
So they had to go.
Yeah.
Bus trips as well, obviously.
Oh, yeah. And the thing was, like, the behaviour didn't change, or it didn't seem to. Like, maybe it did, but it didn't appear that way to us.
Nah.
Like, all the shenanigans that
Yeah.
you imagine
So-
went on before they were happening, which we were fine.
Yeah.
So you did a bus trip did you do it the
Yeah,
first year?
yeah. I remember going to Singleton, like our first bus trip to Singleton. It must have been on the way back, and Frosty and I managed to sit like right in front of, or behind Southo. And then it was time for they were like, Southo's going to do his tricks. So we, Frost and I had like front row seats to Southo's tricks and his show, and that was.
It was like the puppeteer, let's put it that way. He did stuff like the squash rack and the gecko and the frill neck lizard.
The frill neck lizard with the was a.
I don't remember.
So we don't need to reveal too much, but that's what he's He was before his time.
Yeah.
A wristwatch?
Yeah.
The wristwatch,
See, the girls don't remember. They remember it fondly.
That's a classic.
The frill neck lizard was with a bit
Okay,
of cardboard
yeah,
from the he ripped out some cardboard out of it.
We don't need to remember.
No, well, it's etched in my.
That can be the next podcast if we can find him. Got some old tricks, eh?
Yeah, I don't know if that would, I don't know if I'll be able to post that on YouTube.
No, that'll be
Red tube.
all the older blokes, there were a couple, I reckon, because lots of the older blokes embraced us as well. Like, Rick Jones was the president, and he was very supportive and such a lovely man and very welcoming. And I don't know, Coco loved it. Like, there were some older blokes that really enjoyed it. Like,
and those guys got stuck in it. Like Rick Jones, rest in peace, Rick. Like he took the girls to watch. We went on a bus to watch the Waratahs. Again, you're working with morons because the girls are painting their faces like New South Wales. I'm like, that looks
the only moron is the person that bought the paint.
That looks so good. So, and then they get to the end of the game, and it's a great game. You had a big time. I remember at the Captain Cook, they're all looking really good, and they're trying to get it off. It's like, it's not coming off. It's glass paint.
I don't know, I had to go to work.
It was etched in their face, an NSW. Ange Mackay, I nicknamed her Hulk Hogan after that, the Hulk star.
Who bought the glass paint?
Was it Ange?
I feel like
I think it was Ange Mackay. Ange Mackay, I think you're responsible. Yeah, no, glass paint. And so Rick came down, he took the girls down that day. The boys
I don't
must have
think
been
I'd ever
playing.
been to a professional.
They went to a rugby game, went to watch the Waratahs. Johnny Burns, who was already 60 at the time, he was on an end-of-season trip with us at Central Coast wearing a dress. Hang on, they were stuck into it. And the stuff I'm talking about is only about some people that didn't think girls should play rugby. You heard a bit of that stuff.
Yeah.
But you're proving them wrong so quickly.
I think there's still
Was it
guys
my
that say that, yeah.
Oh, and look at, absolutely. And we thought we'd try and be protective of the girls where we could. But then I'm only thinking today, they're not marrying players in the club, so it ends up even better than ever. It's where you know people.
That is true.
Exhibit A, Matt Streatfeild, I think he played a total of 2 games.
No, maybe one. I think.
He had a bad break up at
Didn't
Maitland, I
he
do
hurt his knee or
remember.
something?
Yeah.
Alicia Frost, another one. So in the end, this is where they met their loved ones as well. Very random.
Yeah.
So there's no protecting them.
No.
Roy Clark was another one that got on board.
Clark,
Yeah.
the old patron.
That was
Is he the
maybe
man that used to run the line?
he'd run the
Yeah,
line
yeah.
for us, and he came to a women's presentation, and we all dressed as senior citizens, and like him and his wife, was it Violet, maybe?
Oh, it's easy.
Sounds right.
Yeah,
Another rest in
and-
peace, Rowe.
but he got like, I think he was a little bit skeptical maybe initially, and then like he'd run the line and he'd come into the sheds, and he was right on board. I think the year that when Des Toofey was coaching was when like Roy was really involved. Maybe the year that we won as well.
Yeah. So I left and they want to come.
Well, that was me too.
So there was no Midas touch.
Yeah.
But let me say, like it was different for me. Like I'd only started coaching, so I was new too. But it was different, and you had the whole squad the whole time. Whereas if you coached any grade,
Yeah.
there are always players in and out.
Yep.
So you got all random people. Like as much as I loved my first grade team in 2007 with Kramer and those fellas, and then reserve grade side, you got annoyed by people like Brett Anglin, but people were in and out of those sides all the time. So it was always different. But you had a nucleus here of the same people.
Yeah.
So you got a real attachment, and in our case, you met the families more because they're only kids to start with.
Yeah.
So you became good family friends with everyone too. Ange Mackay, they used to host at Club Mackay. They had a great, set up there. Trish and Dave, I think it was. They embraced the girl. They loved that time. It was good fun.
And the Whittinghams,
Across the road,
they hosted us a few times.
Yeah, where was that?
They literally,
across the
like,
road
they
in the
were
corner.
across.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
which was
Oh, no,
pretty
wasn't it?
convenient.
And so in the first couple of years, was it pretty much the same squad for good few years?
Yeah, pretty close.
Yeah.
Because I think, you stayed 3 years? Was that you kind of
Yeah.
said 3 years is my limit? I
Yeah.
feel like I'm get stale after 3 years. So when and after Jimmy was Rob Delabox,
Oh, he was in between there, right?
Delbo, like
Referee.
Yeah, right.
yeah.
He grew his hair. He turned into Fabio after that with his hair. He had short hair back then.
I
Nothing
saw-
nothing
I
wrong
A
with
bit of
growing
a
your
rough
hair out.
transition, to be
It didn't suit him.
Didn't suit it.
I don't think so.
I saw him at a uni game
Yeah,
like
okay.
a month or so ago. So he's like oversees all the referees now.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah, right.
So he had a bit of a career with us. And it was funny like that. And again, they had to establish themselves because they had the late kick-off at 5 p.m, right? So you had to keep the crowd around.
Yeah.
But people were interested and stayed, and it kept the green room up for a couple more hours.
Yeah, well,
We
that's
always
good.
ran towards the green room though, because it was like probably a half of women's rugby at that point.
Yeah,
was
true.
about as much
That's
as we
about the
could
interest.
take. Yeah.
So take advantage of it running the green corner. But it was different. Some places didn't have sheds
Yeah.
for girls. So I remember like Sharky and Colonel and I. Sharky and Colonel, there was Vegas you can get at times as well. So Sharky and I played 4th grade, in Nelson Bay's time slot, like it was 5th grade.
Mm-hmm.
And Sharky's preparation was sunbaking with his jersey off. He was so good he just run on and play. We'd come back, coach the girls at 5 with Colonel, who was also as vague as ever.
Yeah.
But they were a good pair, they were fantastic with the girls, loved their time. Right?
And so reflecting on the first couple of seasons, what's probably on the field, probably the most memorable moments?
None of actual, like, nothing that, I don't remember anything
No.
in terms of playing. I remember what happened on the field in terms of shenanigans, but nothing stood out to me in terms of actual
Do you want to explain
playing.
shenanigans?
Yeah.
Oh, stuff.
You've been
was-
touched? You've
No,
been touched up when you were playing? Is that a thing?
it
Is that what I heard?
Yeah, it all came out in our bloody group chat. Jimmy's
Oh, really?
like, we're going to have to rename this Bijou because we did have to put up with a lot, as Jimmy said, and from the other teams. It's sort of all come out that, some things went on that never got spoken about.
Well, the blokes used to have the squirrel grip, so
Yeah.
I think some of the women had some
Really?
similar
Well,
stuff going on.
We didn't, but...
Yeah, no.
So the
We didn't practice that,
No.
No.
but others did to intimidate ours.
But yeah,
apparently.
like we were playing here one night and we'd never beaten Hamilton and they were probably the best and they were like, proper players and we were
Yeah.
girls really, and they used to say, like, I feel like they hated us. I think
Mm.
they
Yeah,
gave us the name Merewether Models,
Yeah.
and they'd be on the field going, "We're getting beaten by a bunch of little girls," like that sort of thing.
Yeah.
They weren't that pleasant to play, but Fluky accidentally turned the lights off, and In those days, I don't know if they've upgraded the lights,
No,
but
they
didn't.
take-
Yeah, they took like ages to. So they just abandoned the game, and the ref was like, "Well, you were in front when the lights went off, so you
can have it."
we won." And they were filthy. Like they thought we cheated and all this. And Clicky was like, "Whoopsie." Yeah, I don't know. Like there was a snake at Singleton. We had to stop the game to get the snake off the field.
I think we had juniors, we had a brown snake in the sheds.
Oh God.
Which I've never ran that fast.
No, if I actually saw it, I'd die.
Yeah.
But, and then Meg kind of rattled everyone. She played hooker, and then just mid-scrum started singing, like broke out into song, like the whole, just because she sings wherever.
What?
Yeah, and like the game stops, like the whole scrum like unpacked and was like, what was that? Like, because that had obviously never happened.
What song was she singing? What was the...
Probably the equivalent of Frozen.
I don't know. Like, imagine Joe, a female version of Joe.
Yeah.
Like,
No, I know. Well, I know Meg.
Yeah.
But
I don't know. Like, I travelled.
Was it a?
No. Like, she's just like that
She's
way.
having a good time.
inclined. Like, I travelled with her through Europe, and we were in Switzerland, and no shit, like every 5 minutes she'd just start yodeling just because the scenery like compelled her to do so. It's torture for me, but like she's just it was funny, hilarious. Because you've got this front row just going, what was that?
I was going to say, I remember our very first game up at Gibbs Brothers, and I've got lots of photos and photo albums at home, so a lot of my memories are like through my photos, but we played Southern Beaches, and for whatever reason our first game was up there, so...
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
I thought we played at Empire the first game.
Oh, no, it was Empire.
We played them up
Yes,
there.
yes,
Right.
Southern Beaches at
Did
Empire.
I just miss that?
No, I
So
said
they're
Gibbs
getting a bit old
Brothers.
now.
Right.
I said Gibbs Brothers, but I meant
Good work,
Empire.
Ethel.
I just backed out a little bit.
Yeah,
sorry.
no, because I sent you the photos too with Kate Holmes and
Yeah,
Kate O'Brien and Jazzy in a couple of those pictures. But
right.
I remember that, and I have memory of Jade Filipsevic, and I think she was Jade Hunter, and she was our fullback, and she could just run like she was a sprinter. So we'd all, we had some netballers, dancers, basketballers, but she came in as a sprinter, and she didn't play for that many seasons. So I do remember her in those early days, and her against, was it Kim from Singleton?
Yeah.
Their
She was
fullback.
placed too, yeah.
They were both really quick, so I remember them. But probably one of the games that sticks out for me in early years was the grand final, the first grand final we played in that we lost against Hamilton. I think it was either like 2000 or 2001.
I'm pretty sure it was the last year.
No, we played one over there. We played one here, and we played one at...
Was it uni or something? No?
I just remember being in the change rooms afterwards and
Shattered.
Maybe it was.
totally shattered because I was so excited that we'd made a grand final. I didn't prepare myself for the fact that we might not win.
Yeah.
And there's like photos of us just like Jimmy's there and Sharky, I think, just sitting in the sheds, just like totally devastated. But then went on to like just party all weekend and had the best weekend. Like I think Jimmy said to me by about Monday, I should have said to you, Goldie, they're long weekends and you really need to pace yourself, because I just wrote myself off on the Friday night.
Yeah.
But
after a while,
yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a test match. When you're off field, it's a test match. We're in the season and stuff.
Was that the grand final was on Friday night?
Yeah.
It was.
And then into the men's the next
Yeah,
day.
so we got that extra day of...
So when did you make when was your first grand final that you made?
I reckon it was year 3.
Yeah, because I was
Okay.
That was
played
before I left.
and I was there.
That's pretty good.
So
Yeah.
did we make finals each year?
I feel like
We did one better each year.
Yeah.
And I thought maybe we'd made the grand final twice with you coaching. And that's why I thought, I thought we were
I
going
don't think so. And look, you learn in coaching too, because someone had a bloody boombox. The noise was so big, but I reckon they were just masking the nerves in the end.
Yeah.
Because we got a minibus or something over together. You learn, and you probably did everything wrong in our preparation.
Yeah.
But geez, we had a good time.
Yeah.
They were a good bunch.
And what's the what about off the field? Most memorable sort of moments off the field? Obviously, silly Sundays and all that. Grand final weekends.
There's just too many of those. Like the Grand, I've been to the Grand Hotel for 1,000 years, but that's where they always used to go.
Yeah.
Shania Twain was all the go. That was a golden special.
Still hate
She was the
that
queen
song.
of dress-ups. Everything was a dress-up.
Yes.
So you always,
Yeah.
as you can see on
so she's coming today. Kenny Owens, if you ever watch it, she's still got the old Delta phones. Like he was a great sponsor of ours, so we had great shows at Kenny's place. He
How
put on
did
a
he get
spit.
involved? Because he was like,
I don't know. He was around the club. Kenny Owens, KO Cakes, many years ago.
Yeah. Oh, at Beaumont Street.
Yeah.
I used to have a coffee and a cigarette
Yeah, well, there you
there
go.
before school.
So he got into mobile phones early. And then he brought a bunch
Yeah,
of
the
his.
ponytail.
Yeah, in the olden days.
Yeah.
And so he sponsored the girls. He took the girls on and did a real good job with them. Looked after them like nothing else, like gear like that on occasions. So and then he had some shifty mates.
I think I know where that. Yeah.
There's some photos of service in the
I
last
think he
couple of
ran around.
days.
I think he had ties to certain people. That might be the old man had ties to as well. and
Yeah, no, the same.
It's a dodge factor.
circle.
Nifty Neville Reid.
So remember, Dad always had like tracksuits like that, New South Wales ones, and
They've definitely fallen off the back of the truck.
Dad never paid full price for a suit
Yeah.
ever.
They always had gear. So, look, it was, they were just a good time. I mean, you'll probably remember some more of the specific ones, but yeah, for me, they were just the life of the party all the time.
Yeah.
And I said, they're still hanging around the club now in social stuff. They changed all those things. Tobes will probably be upset because they made him sing American Pie for another 50 years. Because they brought in like your contemporary music stuff instead of the old rugby songs started to go out the door.
I know,
Until
I remember the first
Merv would
time.
jump up on the table and it'd be
Yeah,
like,
the
everyone would get
first
stuck into it.
presentation, because women hadn't been for, so up to that point it was players only. And literally, the presentation ended and everyone just stood around and we were like, where's the music? Don't you dance? And Jimmy's like, no. I'm like, well, what do you do? And he goes, we usually get nude. And I was like, please don't do that. But yeah, it was strange to be at like a function where you didn't like dance, or at least have some tunes.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Oh no, but that you still have that connection afterwards. I was at the Burwood one afternoon a couple of years later, and they came past on their bus on an end of season trip and picked up myself and Chris Nita, and we went on the trip. Chris didn't even go home and get a bag. I don't know, she got the same clothes for 2 days, or at least they got a bag on the way out.
Yeah.
You think, okay. And then some of the worst of the worst. So then one of the girls, we ended up at the cop shop to pick her
Yeah,
up.
she got arrested.
Someone did say who got
Drunk and
It
disorderly.
wasn't me.
No.
So I got arrested. It was that night after our grand final.
Yeah,
I
right.
don't know who it is, but we won't name it. But
Yeah, Michelle
that's
Blanche.
fine. No, the thing was, she still had a playing jumper on.
Michelle
Yeah.
Blanche, wasn't she a singer?
Yeah, I don't know.
Same
She was
name.
singing that night.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she got arrested for something, and I was like, wow.
In a jersey.
Go and get
Yeah.
nicked, but take your jumper off.
She was at the brewery
Yeah, she's
being
drunk
like
and disorderly.
handcuffed in her Greens jersey.
Yeah.
But then we went and got her out,
Yeah.
and then bolted on us, fell over a tree root and nearly broke her ankle.
I think she did break her ankle.
What was she getting arrested for?
Hey?
I don't know. I think she was trying to punch on with someone at the brewery. And
Yeah, it's
then
just a drunk, resisting,
security.
not leaving the premises or whatever. But you girls had had more stories of nights out. God, there was so many. And what happened, the green room just changed. Like there was music and whatever else. The whole
Yeah.
social scene just changed.
I think
Like,
like
cop showed up here one day when we'd been into town and ended up in the middle of the
well we had a party at Mel Witt's
Oh,
place.
right,
I did.
And yeah.
I did see some photos.
Yes.
Playing you play touch down
Yeah,
here.
we
and
came
with
to-
the
I had the
Nicole.
keys, so I was on the committee
Carlton
still.
and
I
Carlton.
was on the committee, so we thought, let's go over and turn the lights on and play a game of
About
touch.
1 a.m. we came over, turned the lights on.
Lights are full on.
Loved it.
Yeah, the neighbours loved
Yeah.
it. Cops showed up. The cops were okay.
But we got photos with the police.
Yeah, they were
they
alright.
posed with us for some photos on the field.
Mm.
But I think I don't know when it was when Frosty and I got on like the social committee and we started to organise a few events. So like we brought in like the karaoke night. So that was
She's really pushing hard
That's
for it
another
too
one.
at the moment. Yeah.
because we didn't really know how it was going to go. And the first one we did was country themed. And we brought in bales of hay and like scattered the old green room was just covered with hay, and it was the best night. Everyone, all the guys, got involved, and it was some people wore cowboy hats and stuff, but then progressively the dress ups got bigger and bigger, and they ran for a couple of years, so they were some good times. But also Bowls Day,
Bowls days. I feel like things were like staple back then.
Yeah.
Like, there was always a ball.
fixed
There was
calendar.
always a Bowls Day. The karaoke nights came in later.
Yeah.
But well, I think we had 2 Meet the Players the first season, one before pre-season and one right before it started, and then cocktail parties at the Mercury. We were at the Mercury a lot because when Simon LaRouge was the club captain, he dated the chick that ran it, so we were there all the time. But like things were every year, that's what was happening. Like whereas now, I don't remember that. Like when was the last ball? I don't know.
Yeah.
I think a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
There was one a couple of years ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
Loads of
I think we're
kids.
going to, I think there is plans to bring some stuff back.
Yeah, right.
It's just,
And I think also like our Mad Mondays, we used to, for whatever reason, go to Stockton. Probably because of Christy and Beck Ando and Candace. So we'd say like we'd all meet and have drinks at the brewery. And I remember like one year, a couple of years, like that was Clacky and Reggie, a couple of the boys, they'd come over and we'd just drink at the wash tub.
Yep.
And then we'd eventually make our way back over. But they were good days. And there was never a big contingent of boys there, but maybe they would, whether the like 3rd grade, because 1st grade didn't do very well back then. It was the lower grades that were, in the finals, so there weren't many teams to drink with on Mad Monday.
No.
So we'd drink with those guys.
but wouldn't they, so 1st grade, if they didn't make, they wouldn't do Mad Monday back then.
It wouldn't always last that long. You'd
Yeah.
probably have premiers that are hanging around more with medals around their necks,
Yeah.
Right, okay.
most likely.
Did we do Silly Sunday? Like, I don't remember that being a big thing.
It wasn't as
Or like it wasn't
as
official.
organised as it was
Yeah,
now in a way.
Yeah.
And you have to lock people away now because it's
Yeah, I
too
think
hard.
Silly Sunday's more taken over Mad
Yeah.
Monday. I don't think anyone makes it to, well, no, people do make it, but I don't, but yeah.
When we won our first premiership, and that was in 05, Silly Sunday was a thing by then. So that was when we got Friday night, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, and that a couple of us went out and got tattoos on the Monday.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, there were 4 of us went and got
where are they?
on different places. Mine is still there. A few of them have been covered up because some of
Where
the
do you know?
girls.
Where?
Mine's on my
Your bum cheek?
upper bum cheek.
Upper bum. You haven't got an upper bum.
Well, it's the top of my
almost
top of my
like
bum.
tramp
Or was it tramp stamp?
No, it's to the side. It's not a tramp stamp, but yeah. So.
So you and Merv got one, definitely.
Oh no, Merv didn't. No, I went with the Anderson sisters.
Ah.
The 4 of us went and got the tattoos together on the Mad Monday,
And you
and
got like matching ones.
Merv got like he's got the whole emblem. I think
Yeah,
What have you got?
just greens.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen it.
Yeah, maybe this weekend. We'll whip it out this weekend.
Pop out.
But I think maybe like
never know.
Christy and Candace, one got it on their arm and maybe one got it there, and they've since got
They've
like
covered them.
butterfly, like nicer tattoos to cover up.
Seemed like a good idea at the time.
Yeah.
You never get cover-ups.
Got plenty of them.
Hey, no. I've never, no. I
Remember Rowan, but the girls are dumb, the boys are dumb too. Like Rowan Garner had Rosie down one arm and they was only going out with her. That ended up being a fish. Like the Garners specials.
They watch this.
You get, I hope they do. They're thickheads.
Not as good as I'm a lesbian on Joe's butt cheek.
Correct.
Oh, I forgot about that.
So,
And I don't think I don't know if you wanted anyone knowing that, but now they do.
Oh, sorry, Joe.
it's only a tattoo.
Were there any sort of key individuals or mentors that played a big significant role in, besides Jim, but in the first year or couple of years?
I said, because we all had to write this down. First of all, Frosty's idea was to do written things, and then she's like, let's turn it into a podcast. But yeah, mine was Jimmy, Sharky, and the Colonel.
Yep.
Not only, because not only did they try to teach us how to play rugby, but it was a big thing to be like club people and how important it was to represent the club, get involved in the club. Like Jimmy always made us go back to the opposing side's pub. Like we always did that. Yeah, at some point he kind of put the expectation on some of the players to play rep, to like be better, but also to represent the club. I didn't do any of that, but I only pretended to listen to him on that one. But yeah, like, and the fact that they had been around for a long time, I think helped us be accepted as well, because, you know, when people see people they know and people that have been around for a while getting involved in something, they kind of tend to follow, so that was helpful. Yeah, and then, like, we had Jess and Carla, did have some female on our team staff, which was helpful. Jimmy always tries to make out like we were crying all the time, but
they were.
I don't think that's true. But yeah, that was helpful.
Because we had a small squad, right? You had to teach them a bit of discipline. So they'd call us, I'm going to a birthday party, and I'd just go, what? And be like, so you're going to tell your teammates you're not coming this week to training? There'd be like awkward silence, and then
that wouldn't have been Kate.
Here we go, the waterworks. Like, really? But again, no worse than the boys who were later, like, who had to try and get home early to watch Survivor or something. Like. So same sort of trends. It was all right.
Yeah, you
so
were
many
pretty like,
tears.
yeah.
So
it was like, you don't
tears.
train, you don't play. Like, that was the rule. Regardless of the fact you don't have a club full of people ready to step into your
That's
sport,
right.
but
You don't start.
Well, Frosty said that Chisel said that Chisel described you as one of the best breakaways he's ever seen play the game.
I didn't play breakaway.
Well, that's what Frosty texted me.
I wasn't in
She
bad
said
centre.
you switched between the forwards and the backs.
I played maybe one game.
One game. That's all it took for Chisel.
And I did my ACJ.
True.
So
And
I
then went
never
back
did
in
that
there.
again.
Yeah, right. So Frosty's.
I thought you played a few more in breakaway.
Oh, maybe.
Like,
I don't know. I was too little though. Like, yeah.
She was a weapon.
For the people we were playing, my size wasn't an advantage. I said.
Oh, they were giving away kilos all the time. We always had the smallest too. So they were always pretty courageous getting stuck in. So
We were fit though, because we literally did
Yeah,
all
they
our
worked
fitness
hard.
for the man. Like,
Ange was very good at the clean out, and then I remember out here running it up one time, and like, because I was 5'8" and Ange was inside centre, and Ange like came in to latch on, and she just came in at pace and just has hit me here, and I just split open, and I kind of don't remember the contact, but I remember I had to get like 7 stitches afterwards, and that was just Ange coming in so hard, like.
sorry. Didn't I ruin you played as low night or something?
No, that was the other time.
was that you as well?
No, a month later, I split the other. I was wearing headgear in that game, and that was we were playing Wanderers in a semi, and I split the other one open. That one I just was pissed off that I was like, it's happened again. Like how? And that one I only needed steri strips. So, but no, Ange was tough, and yeah, but getting back to your original question about, like, definitely Jimmy for me, like, Jimmy, and like we said, you know, we, as much as at the beginning, Mum was like, this bloke, Jim Thiveos, then, you know, we then became, like, Jimmy's daughter was a flower girl at my wedding, like, we did become, like, family, and we went to Jimmy's daughter's christenings, and we'd rock up on their backyard, on their back deck. But that was.
In fact, were you already there when I got home with a car?
So Meg and I just decided, I don't know if we were still drinking from the night before, if we were fresh. We were like, Sunday, what do? Let's go drinking. So we just bought a case, like, because we lived with our parents then, like, we were like 18 or whatever. Where do we drink? Oh, let's go to Jimmy's. We didn't tell him. We just kind of went in the back gate, started drinking. And then, like, as the day went on, we started inviting more people. And as we started to run out of beer, we'd like, come round, bring some beer. But come round the back. And, like, Jimmy had no idea. By the time he realised, he was walking out. He was home.
But originally not, and then came.
No, because you came out to, like, because you were getting ready to go out on your wedding anniversary lunch or something. And you're like, what are you doing? And we're like, nothing, what are you doing? He goes, I'm going to go out on my anniversary.
agree.
And we were like, okay, bye. So he went to his lunch and we just stayed.
And then we came back and they were still
And then,
there.
then we carried on.
Yeah.
Into the night.
They
That
made
was
themselves
great.
welcome.
Yeah.
It was pretty
That's
comfortable. Oh, look, they're good family. They were good kids, you know. Like they're good people. We didn't have a lot of. They weren't really dickheads. Like you try and have a no dickhead policy with a lot of stuff. Well, we only had a small squad, but everyone really got on.
Mm.
You know, they all got on with each other. And the families were good. There weren't even parents who'd get in the way and stuff. Like as much as I feared, you know, the nerds from Merewether High and the HSC. Like, they were the worst of the worst.
Yeah.
But they were just good people. The families were good, you know, Mick and Sue. And we got Mick into the green room one day. But he did go in one day.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was when we did play a grand final.
Yeah,
we
I
got
reckon
to
you're right,
host
too.
a grand final,
Yep.
and we lost. That was when we had Welshie.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Welshie
What's he?
1 and 2 were like,
A couple of imports from Wales had come over.
Okay.
Playing for the Port.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
pretty original.
Yeah.
and Welshie 1 must have been assistant coaching because we got him in. I've got a photo of him in the change rooms in the shower, like in his undies, and we're all in our underwear, all showering. He had quite a decent body,
Yeah,
and
no,
there were
that was good
I
sort.
think there were
It was
a few girls pursuing him at the time from our team. But anyway, that night, so we were in the green room and Dad came in. I got a photo. He came in for like one drink, and that was the only time ever
Really?
set foot in the green room.
What about no? Still no?
No, that was the only time. He's passed away now, but he
okay.
did end up really liking Steve Frost.
Oh, did he? Okay.
They were at my wedding as well, and
Yeah.
once Dad got to know the Frost,
That's funny.
and know Steve, he was like, oh, he's actually
Soften
not a
up
bad
a
bloke.
bit. Yeah.
I can't imagine your dad disliking it.
Oh, he just hated the slime.
Yeah,
Just
right.
and they probably hated him too. And they were both good footballers.
But I think
Yeah, that was
the
tough.
club was pretty. It was the club everyone loved to hate, wasn't it?
But,
You reckon back then? Like,
I don't know. No, fair.
I think now it is. Now I think
Yeah,
yeah, but
everyone
we're
sort of.
successful.
Yeah, true.
When we started playing that first grade,
No, they were useless.
Sorry,
First grade were
I'm
useless.
saying.
They were.
I
They
wouldn't
were
say
useless.
that.
You'd get promoted to second grade from first grade, stuff like that. So it took
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
Mm.
You know, but
So were there any players sort of, because you trained with the men, were there any players that sort of, from the men's team, that sort of would sort of become mentors or help with with your game, and
Not
any
really.
sort of ones that you remember back then, like sort of.
Yeah, I think like the Watson brothers, they got in and,
Oh, yeah.
and like they were playing
Paul
and they
and
were,
Scott.
and the other ones are like
Dummer.
maybe a bit later. The Commodes,
Yeah.
that was a little bit later again.
Yeah, after my time.
Merv, because like
Yeah.
Merv was like club captain after Simon.
He was in everything.
And he used to run some of the. I remember probably our first, he probably wasn't club captain. Did we have to do pre-season training on a Sunday morning?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe.
anyway, up at the beach, and you know that some bright person made up that thing where you'd run every stairs up the
Oh,
beach.
yeah.
And Merv had us doing aqua aerobics trying to do burpees in the little pool at the bars back in the day when
That's
you could
exactly
go to the
what coaching
bars
is.
and there was half around us like
That's
that.
surely not real. That was just.
But yeah,
It's a G-up.
That has to be.
super fit, and we'd have to try and keep up. And the worst thing because I hated training, I don't know if you knew that, but
I think you hated rugby.
I didn't love waiting around all day to play, and then it'd get really cold and probably rainy right at 4:30, and then you'd have to try and run down those rickety old
Everything's
stairs.
everything's
Yeah.
so
Try not to
inconvenient.
fall.
Ange.
It was a
Yeah.
bit inconvenient.
Sorry to be so inconvenient.
But yeah, training was torch. And then someone would go, oh, fitness tonight, we're going on a road run. And you'd go, thought of that. Whose bright idea was that? And then Merv would be out the front and you'd be like, oh my God, I'm going to die.
Yeah.
Good time.
yeah.
And so you were Kate, you were the first one, women's player to achieve 100 games.
Yeah.
When did you do? What was that?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know. It was maybe.
Oh, they don't do the
It might have been I think it was the year that we won the grand final, which was
05?
05.
Yeah.
And myself, Frosty and Beck all played our 100 games in that same season.
Oh, right, okay.
So I was saying to Frosty today, I don't actually remember the game, and she said it's probably because, and she said she remembers getting to run out first for her game. But she said, I always ran out first because I was the captain. So she said, you don't remember.
Just another
It was
day.
just another. But I do remember the three of us, getting our caps at, presentation. And
That same year.
yeah, that's what I remember, just the three. And that was that's what this amazing tracksuit. The three of us also played rep together.
Yep.
We played for Hunter, and then we went on to play for country. And Kenny got us these tracksuits because we were the representative girls at that stage. We were the first ones, and then Frosty and Beck went on to play for Australia as well.
Yeah.
So, so I getting to play the 100 games. Like I said, I don't remember the date. I look at Sonia, who's gone on to play, her 200 games, and I was here that day, and I clapped, and that was awesome.
Yeah.
To that many people there, just to clap her on in that tunnel. And I'm sure that's a day she'll never forget. But yeah, I don't really remember many of the games that we played, but I remember the social events, and I remember, and there's photos of the three of us girls with our caps.
Yep.
And getting to wear those caps to presentation, that was a big thing. And seeing all the men with those caps and then us getting to wear them was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, so Frosty said that, something that you had the palm cards. Now, so what's, this is Jim coached us for the first 3 years. I believe he went on to coach first grade and second grade. He was always so organised for training, and we endlessly teased him about his palm cards.
I always go with notes. I'm always prepared. I had to think about this. Was 25 years ago,
And you
so I had to think about
call
some
me
stuff.
nerd.
Yeah.
I was just prepared. That's not a nerd. That's way different.
So what were the...
So I'd just have a little piece of cardboard. It had a session on it because you couldn't put it anywhere else. Wouldn't be in my head. So my days would be you leave home at 7 in the morning.
Yep.
Make sure your kids' lunches are done. You go to work, then come to training afterwards. You've got no rest. So you got it's just the stuff that's organised and sitting on them. And I'd use them right through to first grade. So I want a second grade comp, one a first grade comp. So they can't be doing too bad, Frost.
All the time.
They weren't, except for them.
Why did you tease him about it?
Oh, I don't know. It was something. We're out there in the middle of the field, and he's got his little palm cards out to whips them out of his pocket. But when he said he was doing 3 years, so at the end of the third year, we went on one of our bus trips, an end of season trip, and we had this book made up, and we all wrote. Because even though we used to kind of joke, we always said we had a love-hate relationship. He'd get the shits with Frosty and I at times, and we'd get the shits with him. But we really, I guess, respected each other. And so we were quite sad when he said he was moving on, that it was only the 3 years. So we all wrote these really heartfelt messages and put photos in a book and presented it to him with a packet of palm cards, and which I guess you use those palm cards.
I've used many since then.
Yeah, you've probably gone through a couple of packets.
Yeah, that sums up the relationship.
Yeah.
It was good. We became good friends. I've watched them over that time. You'd see them grow up, and they've got their own kids, and we're talking about stuff now. With Goldie and the kid at the Jets. Things that are going on there. You've known each other for so long. It's just like a long relationship. Where, like I said, with the guys, you don't have the same players for that period of time.
Yeah.
And you have some good connections with your premiership teams. You always do.
Mm-hmm.
So reserve grade, first grade, that sort of stuff. But I'm always fond of those memories. But it's just different. Yeah. Even though they couldn't win a premiership back then, I still decided to remain friends with them.
But it's funny though when I think about it. You were our coach, and then we had Rob, I reckon, for a couple of years, and then we had Des Toofy. But I didn't have that kind of relationship with them. It was different.
Yeah.
I don't know if you went out of your way to. So we've remained friends, and probably friends for life. But I'm not don't have that relationship with Rob or Des.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was different, and maybe being that original group, and I think everyone probably feels the same, and hopefully we'll get a few of us together this weekend to all catch up. And
So is there plenty coming from the original sort of team?
Yeah, we've got.
Almost the full team.
Yeah, we've got a.
Coming.
Well, we've got a dinner on the Friday night. We're going
Alright.
to go for dinner, and we've got. There's about 15 of us
Is it?
Yeah.
going. Yes, yep. But there's a few, like a lot have moved away, and
Yeah.
and then there's quite a few have said that they'll call in on
On
Saturday. So we
Well,
just
yeah,
we want to
there's-
get.
There's one in New Zealand. Lauren's in New Zealand. Peter Ware's gone to Queensland. Beck Young reckons it's more important to be assistant coach for an NRLW team. Priorities back.
Yeah.
Like, things change, eh?
What's the team?
The Knights.
Oh, yeah.
She's
Yeah.
assistant for the girls' team. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
they're in Canberra this weekend.
They
So.
got better things
Are
to
they
do.
starting playing? Have they?
It's a trial match.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so they're ready to go.
Okay.
So it's good. I thought instead of a reunion, we're going to have a huddle for a little while.
Yeah.
With about 4 people.
You got your palm.
Like these again. I'll have to bring them.
Yeah.
I don't need to be that prepared on the list.
But I think as well as getting some of that original group together, we
Yeah.
just want to get anyone that's
Oh,
played
absolutely.
in the past 25 years
Yes.
to come along on Saturday and,
Hopefully it's
yeah, weather permitting.
hopefully the rain goes. So that we
There'll
can
still be
actually
something
have a-
here, I presume.
Oh, there'll be something. Just hopefully the rain goes so we can have a decent crowd.
Because there were plenty of girls after them in those 3 years, like your Joe Murrays and
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, Holly and Sonia and
Yeah.
Mel and that crew.
Yeah.
And,
Julia.
Was there
Danica.
yeah, she might, she's,
Yeah,
I messaged her.
There's a chance.
Nipper and Linda.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so speaking of all the teammates, then we'll go like generally towards the end. I like to ask a few little these kind of questions. Who was probably the funniest teammate or the most one that practical? Was there any practical jokers or anyone that sort of
Of that
played?
era.
Yeah, that all
Or
played up a little. Like
I think of Jasmine McGuire. She was pretty funny.
yeah, she was funny.
Yep.
You'd have her on an in-season trip for sure. But I reckon like package deal is Joe Murray,
Yeah.
Julia Ryan, hilarious, and so Julie's Adam
Yeah.
Ryan's sister, and Mel Witt.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
they're funny
Mm.
together.
Yeah, for sure.
and then who would have been who would have been the most likely to go missing when it was their shout?
There's
Oh, when they shout.
Jimmy.
As if. Bullshit.
Oh,
Take it back.
jeez, I don't
No, we
know.
were probably all pretty.
They're not
cool
like
back
that.
then.
No,
Yeah.
No, they're all pretty honest with that stuff.
there's always one.
And cruises didn't cost. That's why I used to
Oh,
drink
yeah.
was cruises. It was different.
But just to go missing, probably Michelle Blanche.
Oh yeah, missing. Like,
Just
yeah.
missing.
Arrested
Like,
or-
I think,
Yeah.
I think someone got left behind from maybe a ball, or we had a ball up in the Hunter
Yeah,
Valley.
that's right.
Oh, who was
Was
that?
that a
Yeah, I
girl
don't
or a
know.
bloke though?
I thought it was a girl.
Well, missed the bus.
Yeah, there was we had a ball
They were
in
left at
Hunter
the venue.
Valley.
It
and-
might have been Rowan Garner.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that brings one
Maybe.
bell.
No.
Fell asleep or something at the venue.
Really?
Yeah.
Left behind. Had to make a call. Not good coverage.
Wow.
Very rude.
That's like the English bloke that fell asleep in the stadium.
Didn't wake up the
He
next
didn't
day.
wake up until 4 in the morning.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, no, look, but life of the party, it had to be golden. Like, she was in the middle of everything, like organising stuff everywhere.
Underage.
Like I said, dress ups, the whole lot. Like, it was relentless. They were that busy.
Nipper was you could always rely on Nipper. Like, did the pie contest when none of us, no one else wanted to do it.
And they weren't much for sculling after games either.
I know,
That
it was
was a
like
bit
the same
weak on
people
that
every
from that point of view.
time.
The end of game skull was a bit ordinary, but
Beck Ando could skull, and
yeah,
Christy.
and her and Christy.
Yeah.
Was like, just getting it to do it.
Yeah.
They're the best.
And then, do you remember? Well, you said you don't remember much of the game, so you got no point asking who was probably the toughest opponent or the toughest team to play.
I remember Tony Payne. She was a 5'8" for Hamilton
Yep.
at the time, and I was just scared of her. She had a mullet, and, but then I played rep footy with her, and I got to know her, and she's actually a really nice person. So then, I think the next time I went out and played her, you got stuck into me because I wasn't playing as tough. It was like I was playing against a friend, and he was like, just, Goldie, just forget that you're not, just friggin' hit her. But I do remember being scared of her. Toby,
Hamilton were just in general.
Yeah.
Tough to play.
Toby McGann.
Good
She
player.
played
Yep.
for uni,
Yep.
and I also got to play rep footy with her. But she was a 5'8" who could actually kick, because I played 5'8", but I couldn't kick.
Yeah.
I could pass, and I could call the plays, and I could.
And had the worst running. It was like Kermit the Frog in a blender.
Well,
She ran.
nah,
Worst
Frosty
running style ever.
It was not.
That was shocking. Like,
Yeah, it was more
Frosty
You know what?
described it as a gazelle type.
yeah, it wasn't graceful. There was no gazelle. It was Kermit the Frog. There was no way. It was not graceful at all. But hey,
Frogs don't run.
it was, yeah, it was. I could just see. You know when he's riding the push bike, it's like, watch the footage.
I scored some tries.
Oh no, I didn't say you weren't any good. It's just the way you ran was really weird. And then we had no kicking because girls couldn't kick generally. That's the other thing.
Bet could kick.
We had to shift people in and around to make up for it.
slot in to do the kicking.
And they were just great athletes. Like, if you did enough with the forward, they were just such good athletes. The backs were so quick that they scored some fantastic tries. Like, unreal. Like, there were some of the early ones where you just could run to the sideline and go around.
Yeah.
But the comp got better, and it was fairly strong then. Those teams were quite good.
How long were the other teams?
They'd had a few years before us, for sure. They'd played a lot of reps.
So who? Hamilton Wanderers, Uni.
Yeah,
Waratah, wasn't it? Yeah.
Well, what about your feared opponents then?
Singleton.
Other than the ones you got assaulted
No,
by?
I feel like Hamilton in general, like their whole team
Joy
was
Wyatt.
like tough, and I probably didn't know their names and stuff, like I didn't play rep with them or anything, but I remember one game, I don't know, I was on the bottom of a ruck or something, and I had a cousin that played for Hamilton on my dad's side, so we didn't know them very well, and she just like picked me up by my jumper, like she just kind of picked me up and popped me back on my feet. I was like, radio. Like, we were kind of little girls compared to them for the first year or two, but
They were I reckon they put the models' nickname on themselves too, by the way. They're trying to blame it on others.
Oh,
I
we
reckon
did
they,
not, Jimmy.
I reckon they strutted around. They knew they were right. The other teams gave it to them. I reckon they call you the Merewether bitches when you were running around, not the models. There was a fair bit of sledging on. They'd intimidate them. Yeah, it was. It was a tough environment. Like for Carlton, like the guys remember in the old days, used to have to go to Maitland and play against blokes who were like Java Man and fellas like that. They were scared to go there. Like that was a pretty tough job.
So were you guys good sledgers? Were you girls good sledgers?
Quite early on. They just got on with it. They had to toughen up.
Yeah.
You had to develop to get to that level. Which was, and the thing for me was seeing girls go into rep footy, like, there was nothing better than, we had that trip to Wollongong, I think that was with Newcastle.
Yeah.
They smashed the comp undefeated. We had a really good representation. And then Frosty and Beck going on to, Wallaroo and stuff.
What year was that? 2005? 6?
No, was it within those first few years?
Yeah.
I had a feeling it was in the first 3 years somehow.
Yeah, maybe earlier than like 03 or 04 maybe. Yeah.
Which, when you think about it, when we'd not really played, we were in a grand final within 3 years.
Yeah,
And 2 Wallaroos in 3 years.
Yeah.
So it's pretty good achievement.
It was pretty impressive.
Yeah. Was there any pre-game rituals? Was there?
Oh, like individually?
Yeah,
probably.
like some people.
I think I had to run out last.
Yeah, I used to always make
yeah.
sure I walked out and then ran.
Yeah,
But I'd always have to be last.
Yeah, right.
For some reason.
I was probably just scared about falling down the stairs though. With like
That too.
The whole green room.
Yeah, because one stair was real rickety, or
still in the old green
if you
room,
got
they
changed in the actual bit, you had to come down those stairs that were more like
off the
through
side.
2.5 stairs to 1.
I remembered one tonight because I could feel something in my pocket, and I used to this is from,
Oh my God.
Use that tape 20
this
years
is
ago.
from 20 years ago, because I haven't worn this or done anything with
Oh, it
this.
was in your pocket?
It was in my pocket, so I used to like to wear this
Yeah.
that was the same tape that I'd tape my socks up with.
Yeah.
That was kind of my ritual.
I wore the same sports bra every game. I probably only had one.
Did you washed it?
I washed it.
Okay, because some people don't. Some people would not. They wear the same, but they don't wash.
I wouldn't even shower in the shower.
From my memory, is a fairly hygienic
Go
too.
home.
Yeah.
Oh no, but they wouldn't shower. They were like,
Oh, we'd
No, we-
shower in our underwear.
Yeah,
weird.
but
then the
like,
boys started doing that too. I don't get it.
showering after 4 grades of man? I don't think so.
Well,
Wouldn't
you're not using the same water.
Wouldn't be much
Although,
fun.
we'd go to the green room in like our gear, and then I'd go home to shower before getting ready for town.
Oh, God.
There was the odd game where we drank the green ginger wine, but that was only before.
Like the bus trip, maybe.
No, it was in the change rooms. Like, I don't know if it was before the grand final, and that would have been like Joe Murray or Mel Witt or
Yeah, okay.
Jazzy. Like, there were a few games where it came out in the got to have a shot.
Well, that's every bus trip.
Yeah.
You're talking before finals.
Before a fight.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure it was someone brought it out as a bit of a tradition.
Should've
We'll
paid
have to
attention.
ask them this weekend.
You say, we're vague, Jimmy. We're smuggling booze into the change.
I don't remember what I did last week, let alone
I know.
25. And I wasn't watching that close. And in fact, it was funny because we had to make sure we were out of the sheds because we
Yeah,
were like
that's
as
true.
proper as ever. There were girls in the sheds, and
Yeah.
you'd make for the hills. And my boys were like, "Oh, we might have seen something.
I think
It's a
too.
catastrophe."
I think the year that we played the grand final here, that was the night we slept over in the green room.
Yeah.
And so we partied. I remember Adam Ryan. There's photos of Adam Ryan that night. He did a strip tease.
Oh, God, Kirk.
And for some reason there were apples in the green room, and there were apples thrown everywhere. And then we had just sleeping bags, and about 10 of us just slept on the floor in the green room.
Little
There's
sleepover.
photos of that as well.
I think we did a
Probably
sleepover
was
when we
the
were
shower
juniors in the
floor.
green room. once.
Yeah.
It was quite fun.
Yeah.
But speaking of, okay, so the old green room, what's the best memories from there?
I
What
feel like
fondness?
they were
What's the-
after we
the-
played. After I finished playing, I reckon.
Ah, right.
We had better nights in the green room. I don't know. I feel like the green room in terms of staying on, like we'd do the prezzo thing and then go home and go into town. That's what I remember. But like Ladies' Day and stuff after, because Ladies' Day wasn't really a massive deal in those days either.
No.
But after we finished playing, like there was a Ladies' Day over in a marquee over that side of the ground, and we ended up in the change rooms or something.
Yeah.
Because you used to come out onto the field, sort of.
Yes. Yeah. And that may have even been, I don't know if that was the last Ladies' Day with the green room there, and that was a big one, yeah, and we all went into the downstairs change rooms and partied on in there afterwards, but probably karaoke nights in the green room there, and yeah, that'd be, and I, like, this is going way back, but I was pregnant on the night when it was the last night in the green room, and I got to work the bar that night, and I don't know what game it was after, but that was good fun, just working in the green and, you know, kind of seeing all the younger ones coming up and enjoying it. So yeah, some good times in that green room.
None of this fancy stuff.
No.
They are the olden days.
Yeah.
So they got the privilege of having been in that, you know. Like we look at it now, it was in the worst position ever, but it was a great place. Like it was so.
Oh, some of them,
like,
yeah.
Everyone's got stories, you know. Like and look, it wasn't my cup of tea, the karaoke nights and whatever, but they did change the place. Like it did. And the numbers went up. People were having a great time. I think it brought out the feminine side of a lot of the boys. Probably started manscaping and doing whatever else at the same time. I don't know how it goes. It's all changed. Blake's like Kramer and his softer side.
Well, okay, so it's the 25th. We'll wrap it up soon, but as the 25th anniversary of the team obviously still going. They're going pretty well this year. Is there anything sort of like that you'd share with the current players, and
Who wants to go?
sort of any sort of messages that you'd sort of?
For me, and I'm not such a great role model of it, but like we were brought in, and the biggest thing for me was that it was like you had to be part of the club, which meant not just turning up to training and playing, which was probably the worst part about it. It was all the other stuff and getting involved otherwise. So, and Frosty still does a great job of that. Kate, definitely you've done your time for sure. And yeah, just being club people and how important that is. And, you know, we, as Kate said, which came from basketball, loving it. Like, it was also the first senior sport we played, so we'd not been around like the drinking culture and stuff in the sports we'd played before. But yeah, just relish it for sure as well, because I can't actually believe that 25 years has passed. But yeah, just get involved, I would say. And like what you were saying before, how you were trying to work out what year you played your 100. Like, I came in, I played 4 years and I was kind of gone overseas or something, you know. But, and I think you said to me before, you probably played longer than you would have liked to or whatever. So it's the girls that have probably stuck around for longer than they probably wanted to, just to keep the team going. And, you know, like Sonia and those, Joe and that lot that kind of kept the team, like women's rugby going. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm proud of it. I'm proud that I've been part of it. I probably need to step up my game in my contribution.
Feels like a therapy session.
Sorry.
You're right.
Yeah, I'm getting paid.
Right, well, you go ahead. Your turn. What have you got to say?
I think they should be proud of themselves. They were pioneers back then, like, and they were only kids, and they jumped into it and embraced the place and led by example. And it's the same. I keep an eye on what's happened with the girls' team since, and I know they nearly folded a couple of times, but whoever was involved there to just keep it together those couple of seasons, it's pretty good to keep it going for 25 consecutive seasons. And you look at where rugby's come since back then too. Like that Newcastle comp was really strong back then with quite a few teams. And, you know, when these girls are representing and going on to bigger honours, you know, and look at, you know, one of my favourite teams now, maybe it's coincidence, but the women's sevens team is a fantastic side. Love watching them, you know, what great athletes. They're awesome. It reminds me of, you know, these girls back in the day. Like, so I think they should be proud of being the pioneers for this side 25 years ago. And what they did on and off the field, I think, is important.
Yep.
I think we had good human beings. And you're right, I was always buying into the culture. And that's maybe why we've kicked on a bit too. It's all, you're all in, or you're not. You know, you didn't cry on the phone to me 15 times because you weren't all in. You cared, but you just cared more about the birthday party on that night.
I need to challenge him on that.
Well, not saying it was just you, there were others, there were many. I think everyone had a go. There's
Whose
some,
birthday was it?
I don't know what he's talking about.
I didn't say it was Ange. I think everyone had a run at some point. They had some lame-ass excuse about not coming to training or doing something. And it wasn't good enough.
No one likes training.
It's not the point.
Yeah.
You're either in or you're not.
Yeah.
Goldie?
Oh,
Skipper?
I just think now, like, I look at the junior women's teams and I just think, you know, it's so impressive what they do, and I think that we're very fortunate to have that many girls interested, and there's just more and more girls that are wanting to come over to rugby, and I just think we, you know, the current players really need to appreciate that they are with the best club there is, and not take it for granted, especially when you're like the social stuff. You know, I look back on it now and they were definitely some of the best times of my life, and it will be for these guys coming through. And just that, the mateship, I guess, and the friends that you make for, like, so people playing now, like, and the teams that they're in now, I hope that they are still friends 25 years down the track and organising their reunions and things like that. So I just think it's a very special club to be a part of, and I think the women should, like, I've always felt grateful for how well we were included in this club, and I think other clubs were envious that we were so accepted. Yep. Like, I think the Wanderers and the Hamiltons, that even though their female teams were so successful, they never felt as included by their male, the male side of their club, and true. They used to say, like, you guys are right in the, you know, right in the midst of it, and I go, yeah. So I think just feeling grateful for being part of the best club there is.
All right, one last one. Now, bus trip, you can take 5 people each, male, female, from any sort of era of the club.
Bus trip.
What, from this lot?
From any, no, male, female, anyone. You can take 5 with you.
Haven't you watched the podcast before, Jim?
Yeah.
It's been a long. I probably forgot about that.
I thought you would have done your research
I didn't write a farm card.
What sort of
and
fruit's that?
look, watch.
Have
Smooth
you-
has his going on a
I've thought
constant
about
loop.
it.
Right.
I
go.
didn't know it was 5 though. So can we extend it to an end of season trip?
Yeah, sure, of course. Yes.
So Meg, Roche, Jasmine Maguire, and Alex, 3, and then Julia Ryan, and probably Joe. Just love.
Oh, so I don't get to go.
Oh, you, I don't know you.
You're
No,
all
I don't get to
going.
go with you.
No,
Six.
we're all going.
We're all going. Yeah, we're all
Oh,
going. Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
All right.
Not
So-
watch the podcast.
No, so we're all okay. No, well, not this part anyway. All right.
So male or female, anyone?
Oh, I forgot. Do I have to take my husband? So, he's not even.
Well,
It doesn't really matter, does it?
no, he doesn't know. He can stay home with the kids.
Yeah, he's out.
All right. So us 3. I'll definitely take Frosty, Beck Ando, Merv because he's the greatest singer there is, and then we can swap clothes and I can sing some songs as well. Oh, geez. Chris Nita, because we used to just take her on the odd bus trip and she was always a good time.
So I was up for it.
One more. Oh, that's a tough one. Lauren Edwards. She's can't make it this weekend, but she was always a good time. Oh, I probably could have said Gabby Hussein too, because one memory of her was when she'd broken her foot and she cut off her plaster on the bus on the end of season trip.
Dude, yeah.
So she's a good time to
Yeah.
get a few drinks into her.
I would like, more than 5.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
I know it's hard.
It's a hard
About
question.
the blokes as well.
Hard question.
Yeah, look, I'll stick with the girls. Look, that core team in the first year, who I've sort of known forever since then. Like there's you two, there's Jazz, there's Frosty, and Beck. That's a group that you'd go away anywhere with. The only one I'd add from future years from there would be Jo Murray, because I'll never forget. We went to the World Cup, and she was on the same flight as Taz, Thiveos. And something happened on the flight, he snubbed her or something, and we were in the pub, and she harangued him for hours. And it was like the greatest sledging effort I'd seen for some
Really?
time. Yeah. And I thought, nah, she's special when she goes away.
Yeah.
So,
You've doubled up there though.
yeah. So I'll keep it with the women and say I'd go anywhere with these girls. They're always up for a good time. They were good fun, You always can have fun wherever you take them. But just add a bit of spice with Jo Murray. Lunatic.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Thanks, Bugger.
Beautiful. Thanks.
Thank you.
That's all right. No worries. We'll see you on Saturday.
Right up.